Hey there, thanks for joining me today. This is Laura Lynn with Keep Inking Up. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up! In San Antonio, Texas. And last week I posted a card like this on my Facebook business page, and a friend of mine there commented that she liked it so much that she wanted me to film a tutorial on how to do this cascading floral looking card. So that's why I'm making the video today. If any of you ever have a special request, please leave it in the comments on any of my videos, and I will be happy to do my best to film that particular type of video. I don't have everything by any means, but I will certainly try to adapt to what I have to whatever request you have. I'm rarely open to any kind of suggestions. Okay, so for this card, I am using two different stamp sets. I'm using the Bloom and Grow photopolymer stamp set for the sentiment, the thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love the combination of the handwritten font and the type font on that. And then I'm using the floral image, the small floral image from the Blossoms in Bloom, which is new in our current annual catalog. I just love the large floral image here, but I also really like the small flowers. So that's what we're going to use today. For my card pieces, I have a thick Whisper White card base that is 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored and folded in half at 5 1/2 for a standard A2 size card. And then I have two layering pieces. I have a piece of Whisper White that is 4 by 5 1/4 that will layer nicely on the card base. And then we're going to stamp on this layer that is 3 3/4 by 5 inches that will again layer on there. And I just really like the white layers. I just think it looks really elegant. So we're going to stamp on this particular layer. I'm using a little bit of a different color palette today. Oh, let me pull this card back in. On this card, I used Poppy Parade, Mango Melody, Bermuda Bay, and Gorgeous Grape, as well as Granny Apple Green for the leaves. And then I used the Gorgeous Grape for the sentiment as well, because the Gorgeous Grape's on the bottom of the card and I wanted to balance the color, so I used the Gorgeous Grape on there. But for today's card, I'm going to use some softer colors. So I'm going to be using Calypso Coral, So Saffron, Balmy Blue, Highland Heather, and Pear Pizzazz. So I'm going to begin with the Calypso Coral at the top of my card. And anytime that I stamp with a reddish color, they tend to stain your stamps. Now you'll notice, you can see very easily that my stamp is stained. This tip will not prevent staining, but it will help try to minimize it. So what I do anytime that I'm going to be stamping with a red color, I will first ink up my stamp with Versamark. And that just kind of gives it a little bit of a coating of the clear sticky ink to try to protect the stamp a little bit. And then I will go ahead and ink up the Calypso Coral, and I'm going to start in the top corner of this layering piece, and I'm going to stamp once, then I'm going to stamp off and off again. And I think that's all I'll do for that color. I'll stamp a little bit of the excess off, close up my ink pad, and clean my stamp with my Simply Chamois before I go on to the next color. Okay, which is So Saffron. So I'm going to open that up and I will ink up the So Saffron. I don't need the Versamark this time, and I'm going to stamp it once, stamp again, and I'm going to ink it up again and stamp it. I'm just getting a little bit further out from the top row. I think that I'm going to stamp it, ink on my cardstock, and then stamp off again just to add a little more yellow on this edge of that piece there. I'll close that up, clean off my stamp before I go on to the next color, which is Balmy Blue. And again, I don't need to use the Versamark. I'll ink it up in the blue, and I'm going to stamp it. And I stamp again. Now you might notice that I'm being very careful not to stamp on the edge of the paper. Let me show you what happens when you do. If I, for example, right now I would stamp off the edge of that. The next time I would stamp, you'll see this line right here. I hope you can see that on my scratch paper. I don't want that on my card base. So this time I'll stamp off and then then stamp it again. I don't want any lines, so just be careful. It's good to stamp off the edge of your paper, but you don't want to stamp that again because you don't want to have that line which is created by the edge of the paper when you stamp off the edge. I think that I'm going to go a little bit further and then down. I think that's a good amount of blue. So I'll close this up, clean off my stamp, and then go into the Highland Heather color. Again, I'll ink this up. Now you notice each time I went a little bit further, so you can see the cascading action happening. Now this time I'm going to ink it, stamp it. I'm going to keep going across. Not completely across the bottom, although you could if you wanted to. I mean, it's your card, you can do what you would like. But I'm just going to go almost to the right edge. Oops. And I think I'll do one more. Okay, so you can see how it came. I kept getting longer and longer, so it kind of cascades down the edge of the paper. I got a little too heavy on the purple, it looks like, so you may want to space them out a little bit differently. It happens different every time, although I'll bring in my card, and it happened on this one as well. I have a lot of purple on the bottom. But that's okay. Purple is my favorite color, so I'm okay that that dominates. So I'm going to actually leave the Highland Heather out. I may as well go ahead, when I have it open, go ahead and stamp my sentiment. And I'll ink that up again in the Highland Heather because that's the heavy color on the bottom. And now I will stamp my sentiment in the top right corner. There we go. Now I can close up my Highland Heather. And next I will bring in my Pear Pizzazz to do some leaves. So I complete my rainbow of colors with my green, and I will ink up this little leaf stamp, and I will do generational stamping again. So I'll stamp once, twice, and then I'll do it again, and I'm just going to add leaves on down the cascading flowers here. And you can do as many or as few as you want. I might add a few on the edge. Again, if I go off the edge, I got to be careful not to get that line. It's a little bit of a line, but it's hardly noticeable. I think I'll add a little bit up there, and maybe some down here, just to spread the color around a little bit. Okay, so I'm done with that. So now I'm all finished with my stamping. I'm going to go ahead and put my card together. Now what I like to do is I like to have a dark color background whenever I'm layering pieces so I can see things better. And I'm going to turn this over. Oh, you can see I'm reusing a piece of cardstock that I've stamped on before. And I am going to add some dimensionals. I'm going to add one in each corner, and then two in the middle. I don't like saggy cards, so I like to put them in the middle. I'm going to press my fingernail into each of the dimensionals to help me lift off the backings. Oops. Two more. Well, there we go. And now I can center this on my white layer. If I can get it centered. And then I'll turn this over and do the same thing to add both of these layers to my card base. just struggling with these backings today, aren't I? Some days that's just the way it goes. But it's okay. We'll get them off. Okay, so now I can put it on my card base. I'm going to make sure that it's opening the correct direction so I don't put it on upside down. I have done that in the past. And I will center this on the card base. And I just love how the layering of the white looks on that. I think it really adds an elegant touch. So there is the card, Janice. I hope that you are watching this video and that you found it helpful on how easy it is to stamp the cascading flowers down a simple card. Now you could, if you wanted to, stamp all of this directly onto your card base and have a one-layer card. That would be certainly beautiful as well. But anyway, I hope you found this video helpful and learned a few things with a couple of tips that I shared, and that you like this card. If you do, please like and share this video. I would really appreciate that. As always, I do have also the links to all of the products that I used in the description of this video. If you have any questions, please leave a comment and I will be certain to get back to you. Thank you so much for watching me again today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.